What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're bringing you some Week 9 NFL action between the Indianapolis Colts and the Minnesota Vikings. A little preview for you before we get going. I, of course, have to bring my good friend Nick on. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Vikings in a bit of a skid, but we're 5-2. No one expected that, so I'm still feeling pretty good about the season.
I was gonna say, the Minnesota Vikings. There was not a lot of expectations on this team going into the year, and especially with Sam Darnold being the quarterback, I think even less expectations were set free on this team. And I think it's safe to say that they have exceeded everyone's expectations of how good they could possibly be. Does it still shock you how good this team has played?
Well, it's crazy because it was a meat grinder of a start of the season. The Giants on the road, the Giants are the Giants. But then you had the Niners at home, you had the Texans at home, you had the Packers at Lambeau, and then London against the Jets, who were supposed to be good. And you go 5-0 in that stretch. That was supposed to be the difficult part of the Vikings schedule. And they just killed it. And they weren't just winning games, they were destroying teams, which is just something no one saw coming.
Absolutely. Well, before we get any further, guys, just want to say this stream is powered by BetUS. If you're looking for a sports book this season, look no further than BetUS, guys. Be sure also to like the stream. It helps to get out to more people. Be sure to comment and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We greatly appreciate all of you guys. So tell me, what do you think has been the biggest reason why this Vikings team seemingly has just gone against all the odds and is looking like not only a good team, but one of the best teams in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I think the big reason was the defense. The defense has been fantastic. Yes, we lost to Neil Hunter in the offseason, but you got Van Ginkel on one side, Jonathan Grenard on the other. Those two have been an absolute menace. And then you got Blake Cashman in the middle. The dude has been everywhere. He's in every single play. Any big play the Vikings have, he has some kind of part in it. Whether it's rushing the quarterback, tipping the ball. He's been kind of the I'm going to say a little bit of the he's been a little bit under the radar catalyst to this defense. They've been playing lights out. The back end has held their own. We got veterans back there. Stephon Gilmore was signed late in August. He's been good. So this defense has been the strongest part, and I think the biggest reason for our success has been just how dominant the defense has been, especially the first 5 games.
Yeah, man. It's so wild. And, we're coming into this matchup now. This is a game that a lot of people were wondering how it's going to look. And now this is now a primetime game.
Yeah.
I don't know what primetime game number is this for you? How many does the Vikings have already?
This is our second. We had a Thursday night one, and then this is our second.
Gotcha. So, of course, the one where,
do you count the London one? That's in the morning. Is that prime?
I wouldn't even count that. I wouldn't
even
featured,
count that. Not prime time.
I guess, but I don't know it. Yeah. So of course, the one primetime game where, you guys lose because the refs are blind, and it's how messed up was that? Obviously for you as a fan to watch Darnold literally get grabbed and brought down by his face mask and nobody calls it. How did that feel in that moment?
It sucked. And I'm not saying that's the reason we lost the game, but you at least want to have the chance to go down the field and tie the football game, have that opportunity. That's not the reason we lost that game. Our defense was horrible that game. Offense scored 6 points in the second half. But, even as a fan of football, that's where I was coming from. How does the game end like that? It was such a blatant – this is egregious face mask. His whole head was turned, and the ref was sitting there looking at him. And then they go on after the game. Well, we didn't see it. Don't. Just say you missed the call. Just say you missed it. We all screw up. So not the reason we lost, but, it was tough to swallow. You want to at least get the chance. Maybe Sam Darnold was a pick 4 plays later, whatever. That's fine. But don't let the refs decide the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the entire sports world was on your guys' side on that one. And, that's what concerns me going into this matchup, knowing that the Indianapolis Colts are probably going to face a pissed off Minnesota Vikings team that is certainly going to want to come in and, remind everybody of just how good they are. against the Colts team that seems to have lost a little bit of their identity a little bit, because you don't know what the Colts are going to get here coming into this. But before we elaborate more into that, what's some of the injuries that we have to look forward to when we're looking at this Vikings team right now?
Yeah, the big one is Blake Cashman. Like, he didn't practice again today. He's got turf toe. I know turf toe sounds like it's nothing, but it's actually a pretty serious deal. He missed last week against the Rams. He was sorely missed. Ivan Pace Jr. kind of took over his spot. Ivan Pace Jr., I love him. He's a great story, undrafted free agent, rookie. I loved him coming out of Cincinnati. He's a gadget player. He's a pass rusher. He cannot cover. So I don't think Blake Cashman is going to play, which means for your Colts, the whole middle of the field is going to be open unless Brian Flores changes what he's been doing. But yeah, that's a huge loss for the Vikings.
I'd love to hear that. I love Ivan Pace too, because coming from Cincy, my brother goes to UC, so we watch a lot of UC games. I used to watch a lot of his games. So yeah, great player. So before we go any further here into this, I want to say again, guys, this stream is powered by BetUS, and we're going to actually go ahead and do a bet on here with you guys. And of course, we're going to pick the Colts to win. We have them as they're actually 5.5 point underdogs now. This changed a little bit from earlier in the week. They were actually 6.5 point underdogs earlier in the week, but obviously with the news that Joe Flacco is going to be starting, clearly a bunch of people in Vegas decided that they were going to decide that the Colts would be better off with Joe Flacco. So we're going to go ahead and do that, but I do want to get your help with this, man. Over under is set at 47 right now. What are you thinking with this? Are we going over or are we going under?
I might actually go over. The way the Vikings defense has been, if there's no Cashman in the middle, this could actually be a high scoring game. So I might go over on that.
And the Colts have always seemed to score like 23, 27 when Joe Flacco's in there. Got to imagine that the Vikings would probably do just at least that. So yeah, I go with the over there. I agree with you. So we'll go ahead and hit that parlay, guys. If you want to hit $20 on that, you can get 52 if you place that on BetUS right now. But be sure to do that today, guys. And of course, take advantage of their great promo that they have going on, a 150% sign up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit. And then on your next 2 deposits, you'll get a 125% sign up bonus. All you have to do is use the promo code YouTube150. But of course, guys, be sure to be responsible. So let's talk real quick about this Colts offense. So Joe Flacco, he's going to be the starter now. Anthony Richardson, we don't know if we'll see him again this year, but for this matchup specifically, how do you feel about knowing that Joe Flacco is now going to be the quarterback of this team rather than it being Anthony Richardson?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And why? Because Jared Goff 2 weeks ago carved us apart. Like, I think he had like 2 incomplete passes. He marched on the field, no problem against the Vikings defense. Last week, Matt Stafford threw for 4 touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns on the year prior to this. Veteran quarterbacks last 2 weeks have carved up the Vikings defense and Brian Flores' scheme. They figured it out. And without Blake Cashman in the middle, Joe Flacco being a veteran, it worries us Vikings fans that could happen again.
Yeah, I mean, and, a lot of Colts fans are very excited about the news of Joe Flacco being the quarterback now. A lot of people are upset about Joe Flacco being the starter going forward, but that doesn't really matter at this point. Let's talk more about this Colts offense, the run game. You and I were talking about on your show with Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, one of the feature backs of this league when he's healthy. How do you feel? How's the Vikings defense been at stopping the run? And how do you feel facing Jonathan Taylor in this run game?
Yeah, no, the Vikings defense has been good overall against the run. Harrison Phillips has had a good year. He's getting back and making some tackles in the backfield. You got the linebackers, filling up. had some trouble with the Lions. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs got free for a couple big ones on us. David Montgomery always has success against the Vikings. But overall, we've done pretty damn good against the run. Jonathan Taylor, nothing but respect for him. Definitely one of the best backs in the NFL. You know, I just think keep him to 80 and 100. That's fine. He's going to get his. I mean, he's going to get it. Like, he will. Just don't want to get nuts. And no big gainers. Just kind of keep it controlled. But he's going to get his. I think he will.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, with the passing attack, it has definitely been up and down for this team. When it comes to Joe Flacco, this offense from a passing standpoint certainly does better. When you look at all these weapons, is there one in particular that you feel like could be a little bit of a struggle for your defense?
I mean, I got to give him. I mean, Josh Downs has been fantastic. He's probably your hottest receiver right now. So he's probably the one I'm the most concerned about. You know, he's quick, he's shifty, he's got good hands. So he's the kind of guy that concerns me. And you look at our secondary right now, if we're not getting home on the pressure, which has been a problem the last 2 weeks, the Rams don't have a great O-line, but we didn't get a single sack that game, which was kind of head-scratching, this the way that our defense has been playing. You guys have a very good O-line. I know you have some injuries, but if we're not hitting home, a guy like Downs could definitely cause some damage to the Vikings secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. And another name I think you guys need to keep an eye out for is actually Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
Because Alec Pierce, I know, is a very inconsistent player when it comes to the offensive game plan. But when the Colts decide to finally target him, he stretches the field like nobody else on this team does.
Yep.
And like I said, when you're 6'3" and you're 210 pounds and you run a 4.4 40, you know, there's just no corner wants to deal with that. And especially a guy that has a 40-inch vertical to go on top of it. Alec Pierce is a matchup nightmare for any of those. And he can burn past most corners. And if he is found in the right spot, it's a touchdown waiting to happen. So, you know, that's definitely something that you guys will have to keep an eye out for going into this. Your defensive line, how good have you guys been at getting after the quarterback? I'm pretty sure, what was it? Like you were the first team to 10 sacks this season as a team. I mean, you guys were off to an insanely hot start to start the year.
Yeah, and I still think we lead the NFL in sacks, but yeah, the pressures were there. But like I said, the last 2 weeks has been something different. It's like we're not getting home, not getting there. Grenard's still getting his pressures, just not hitting the quarterback. Van Ginkel had a little bit of a, and I know stat-wise he looked good, but he's not making the gink plays. And then we really have no guy in the D-line. I know Harrison Phillips has had a good year, but we don't have that guy. Like we have Jonathan Bullard, Jerry Tillery. They're fine at what they do, but they're not game changers. So the three down linemen are kind of the issue where they're like, there's no horse there. There's no stud there. Like you want to, we don't have a guy who can change the game on the inside. Definitely no Sexy Dexy, who I'm still hoping the Vikings somehow swing a trade for. I'll give my next 3 first-round picks to get that guy in purple. But that's kind of an issue. Just there's no stud. But the outside guys are fantastic. Grenard and Van Ginkel are amazing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the offensive side of things. Let's talk about your offense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are very interested. They were interested to kind of see how Justin Jefferson would look this year with whoever the quarterback was going to be for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, obviously, we all knew he was going to get his, but I mean, how much more explosive has the offense been? I can't imagine any Minnesota Vikings fan actually thought that this offense would be this explosive as the way it is now.
Well, here's the thing this week. The logo comes back. TJ Hawkinson returns. He's been out since, week 10, 11, 14. Maybe it was 14. It was late in the season last year with that knee injury. Kirby Joseph for the low hit on his knee. He comes back this game. That's going to be huge for this Minnesota Vikings offense, which has had issues. So here's the thing. KOC, Kevin O'Connell's scripted plays, they go great. We drive down the field. But after that, it's been a huge struggle recently. We had 6 points last week in the second half. It goes back to that Packers game. We scored 3 in the second half after scoring 28 in the first half. Kevin O'Connell, beyond the scripted plays, has really struggled to put touchdowns on the board. It's the reason we lost 2 games. It's the reason why we were, kind of holding our breath against the Jets in London. We just couldn't score in the second half. TJ Hawkinson, is he going to help that? I hope so. I think he's going to open up stuff for Justin Jefferson to even have bigger games. And Jefferson's had a great season. I think he's second behind Jamar Chase in yards this year. Hasn't really had that just ginormous game, though. The game you're like, holy shit. 150 yards, couple touchdowns. Hasn't had that yet, but he's still been very, very good. Hawkinson coming back is huge. Jordan Addison's been a little bit underused this year. I don't know what's going on. Maybe just him and Darnold not really being on the same page, but Aaron Jones has been fantastic. Having him here has been just a blessing. He's always falling forward for positive yardage. We had Alexander Madison as running back one for the large part of last season. This is such an upgrade. It's unbelievable how he can bounce things outside and also just go on a big carry. The dude's so impressive. We love having Aaron Jones here in purple, but TJ Hawkinson returning is not good news for you guys. I think that might be the key to unlock this offense.
You think that he's going to actually have a huge role in the offense in that one? I mean, like you said, he's been gone for almost a year. I think he's take a little bit of time to get him acquainted with it.
He's been ready to go for 2 weeks. The Vikings have just been sitting on it. And Kevin O'Connell said in his presser, no snap count. There's no count on him. He's going to be a full go. You look at when we got him a couple years ago, we traded for him from Detroit. He came here on a Wednesday night, and he had 10 targets the next game, which was that next Sunday, 3 days later. So he's a guy who can come in. I think he's going to have a huge impact for this Vikings offense, and I hope he is the key to changing our 6 points to the second half to maybe 21 points, maybe even I'll take 17 points at this point. I think he's going to have a huge impact for the Vikings. He needs to.
Interesting. I hearing that definitely makes me a little bit more nervous about this game coming up. Because the Colts defense does a terrible job at defending tight ends, especially.
Johnny Munt doesn't scare anybody. TJ Hawkinson does.
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson 100% does. So yeah, no question about
hit that like button, everybody. Come on. Let's get those likes up.
Everybody hit the like button, Hey, come on. So I told you in your show about how bad the Indianapolis Colts defense has been this year at stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Aaron Jones, 501 rushing yards on the year so far. Seems a little low, I would say, potentially. But, I mean, again, for what they were hoping they would be getting, I mean, going from Dalvin Cook to, where Aaron Jones is right now, I mean, certainly looks like he's at least been fitting the part relatively well, averaging almost 5 yards a carry on the runs that he does get. Like you said, with what I've told you about this Colts rush defense and, how Aaron Jones has looked this year, how confident are you in the Vikings being able to establish the run game?
Yeah, the only thing that gives me any worry is Kevin O'Connell's he likes to throw the ball. He loves putting the ball in the air. Beyond those scripted plays, like I talked about, second quarter, I don't think we ran the ball once. He forgets to use him. And that is the only thing holding Aaron Jones back is the head coach, who is also the play caller. Maybe not, especially that second quarter, forgetting to run the football. He'll get back to it in the third quarter, maybe in the fourth quarter, but he forgets for long stretches of the game to run the football and stay committed to it. So if you think Aaron Jones' numbers are a little bit down, which I think he actually is on pace for a career season for him, it's because the head coach, the play caller, isn't sticking to it. So even if it's working, he likes to throw the ball. I hope Kevin O'Connell just, commits to the run game and let's run the hell of this thing, because I think there's definitely opportunity against this Colts defense. So I believe it's getting 157, 151 against the rush every week.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
we're the bottom three when it comes to stopping the run. So, definitely will be interesting to see how they handle it, especially with when it comes to the plethora of weapons that you do have. I mean, obviously, like you said, Sam Darnold, 14 touchdowns on the year to only 5 interceptions.
Yeah,
and Justin Jefferson leading the way. 41 catches, 646 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Your second leading receiver, Jordan Addison, 14 catches for 231 yards. I mean, and of course you're going to add TJ Hawkinson to the mix. I will say it has been a lot of fun to watch this Colts secondary over the last several weeks. It's funny because maybe our best corner on the team right now is a guy that we didn't even have to start the year. We actually acquired him from the San Francisco 49ers after our week 1 game, and that's Samuel Womack. And he's actually been like insane when you look at some of the numbers that he's had. Yeah, he's actually been really, really good. And he's kind of like, he's built like Kenny Moore, but he's kind of, in a way, his intangibles are like Richard Sherman. Like he's 5'9", but he has the arm length of a 6. He has the same arm length as Richard Sherman, who was 6'3". You know, so it's crazy to think about like some of the intangibles he has. Jalen Jones is, finally started to kind of put it together a little bit. He's not been getting out of position as much, and the safeties have actually been playing really good. They've been sticking to defenders relatively well. I am interested to see which one of them is going to try to cover Justin Jefferson, because that guy can be fully covered, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The ball there, he's going to get it.
And that's, something we should say about Sam Darnold. Like, he has so much trust in Justin Jefferson. He'll throw in triple coverage. He's not afraid to put the ball anywhere near Justin Jefferson. Last week, he had that amazing catch that he bobbled on the sideline, somehow caught it, got 2 feet in. Dude's absolutely insane. He's uncoverable. I mentioned, holding Jonathan Taylor to 80 to 100 is a win. If you guys do the same for Justin Jefferson, that's a win for you guys, because he's that good.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they handle it. From a special teams perspective, how has your special teams units looked? Kicking, returning?
Well, we got the best damn rookie kicker who's ever played in the NFL, Willie Longballs. Will Reichert is perfect on the season. The dude just doesn't miss. He's like the most innocent looking kid. He's like the nerdy kid in high school you probably steal lunch money from. But the kid's got a leg on him, and he's been absolutely fantastic. I don't know how familiar you are with the Minnesota Vikings and the history of the kicking problems that we've had in our franchise, but it's deep. It's a real issue for us emotionally that we have to get over.
I only remember the one against the Seattle Seahawks.
Blair Walsh.
Yeah.
Gary Anderson, 98 NFC Championship game, was perfect on the season. Missed his field goal there.
And I couldn't believe it. I was so upset. I can only imagine for you guys too. Yeah. To completely botch a 25-yard field goal like that. I don't think I've ever seen a shorter kick ever look as bad as what that was.
It was like 20 below that day too. So, and I think the laces.
I know it was, but come on.
And that team had some grit too. I think that team actually would have won a couple more games. I don't know if they would have won the Super Bowl, but that team it was a gritty team that year. Kind of an anomaly for the Minnesota Vikings. But we finally feel like with Will Reichert, we have that kicking situation figured out. He's just been fantastic. He's been lights out. He's just so cool and collected. So we love our rookie kicker. The weird thing with our special teams, and it's funny you bring this up, is like we've been stressed out now when teams are punting to us. We've had some major issues, fielding punts. Like we had Jalen Naylor back there who he went back and tried to make a diving, like an Odell Beckham catch on a punt that was, I think that was the Packers or the Jets game. I can't remember, but got them back in the game. We had another blunder. Ivan Pace. It was kind of a ticky-tacky call. I think he was pushed into the punter. That ended up being Jets ball, first down. They end up scoring. They're back. They're alive. So we've had these issues on punt return of all things, completely head-scratching. So I'm actually more concerned when it comes to special teams is when teams are punting to us, because things have not gone well. And our best special teamer, Najee Thompson, our boy who's been on our show multiple times, is on season-ending IR. The dude's just fantastic as a gunner, so we miss him. But, to me, it's the punt return team. It's just been horrible. It's been a major issue.
So real quick before we get to a score prediction, both of our teams drafted a edge rusher out of this last draft. The Colts with Latu, and you guys drafted Dallas Turner out of Alabama. How's he look this year for you guys?
It's been weird. Everything in the preseason was like, dude, he looks the part. He's everything you wanted to see. Preseason game, he's having sacks, he's having pressures. Week 1, big sack against Daniel Jones. And now it's just been quiet. Like he's just been nothing. He's not getting any snaps at all. He had like 4 snaps 2 weeks ago. I think he had 2 last week on defense. He plays special teams, which he doesn't do very well. But also he has, Andrew Van Ginkel ahead of him. He's got Jonathan Grenard. He's got Jihad Ward. He's got Patrick Jones, who's having a nice season. So he's kind of buried on the depth chart. Not concerned. I thought there'd be more production from him at this point in the season. I was expecting him to actually be a contender for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's not going to happen. I know he also got injured, so I think they're actually playing it safe with him. I'm not concerned about his future. I'm disappointed in his production. How about you and Latu? How is he doing?
Like you said, disappointed that there's not been more production. He originally started out the year with being like pretty much almost 4th on the depth chart, which is so weird that you drafted him that high to, he's not even a starter on this unit.
Yeah.
This unit that has always been trying to find the guy. He's had a couple good moments. He actually leads the team in pressures this year. Now, I wouldn't say that's saying a lot just because of how decimated the defensive line has been for this team this year. Remember, Samson Ebukam lost or went to IR before the season even started. That was your number 1 edge guy. Kwity Paye missed several weeks of football so far this year. And then a couple other guys have also been missing some snaps as well. Another defensive end that we had, he had to get placed on short-term IR. DeForest Buckner, your all-pro defensive tackle, went on short-term IR. He's just now getting back, so like the entire defensive line's being decimated to the point where there's just no return. So it's kind of had to have been Laiatu or nothing. And, he's been getting pressures, but, never quite there for the sack all the time. But, he'll continue to learn. He's still a young guy. So like what we see in him, just obviously not quite the production that we originally thought. Well, we're here at the end of the show now. We can do a score prediction. How about it? What do you got for us here?
Yeah, I think so in this one, Vikings do have some issues on offense, especially the second half. They just failed to score touchdowns late in games. I think TJ Hawkinson is going to definitely solve that problem. His return is going to be huge for this offense. I also think they have they want to get back to where they were. Like these last 2 weeks have not been the Minnesota Vikings, especially on defense. Brian Flores is a prideful guy. This whole unit's very prideful. I think they're going to get back on track. I do think the Vikings win this one, but the Colts, I don't like the fact that Joe Flacco's playing. I think that veteran presence is going to help them be able to move the chains, put up some points. I do think the Vikings win this one. I think your 1-score streak's going to continue, but the Vikings win 28-23.
28-23. All right. I a close one, and we're keeping it on the under there for that. But yeah, I don't know. My disdain for this organization has kind of put me at a point where I don't know if I want to pick them to win. I'm going to be petty, and I'm just going to be I hope they prove me wrong, but I'm going to say that we lose 27-20.
All right.
So
I'll take it.
Close one, but there we go. All right. Well, thanks again, man, for coming on. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you guys at?
Yeah, One More Lupica Show. Hit us up on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you can find us. Again, you want any Viking content, anything purple, we'll throw it at you. Multiple shows every single day. We go live 3-4 times a week. We have fun. That's what I like to do here on the One More Lupica Show.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Again, shout out to BetUS for powering today's stream. And of course, guys, be sure to like the stream as you're heading out. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. We're on the push for 20,000 subscribers, but we can't do it without you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts.